Hey, buddy, hit that subscribe. Just a sec for you, but it means the world to me. I first noticed something was off the third time Tyler asked about the property line. Not once, not twice, but again, same calm tone, same fake curious smile. He'd stand by the kitchen window with a mug of coffee, staring past the open field toward a tree line, like it was calling his name. "So where's your land actually end, Robert?" he'd ask. At first, I brushed it off. City guy curiosity. No big deal. But by the fifth time, yeah, my gut started screaming. And I've learned over the years, when your gut talks, you shut up and listen. My daughter, Claire, thought I was overthinking it. "Dad, he's just interested in ranch life. You know how Denver guys are." She laughed it off like it was nothing, but patterns matter. I spent 40 years as an engineer. You don't ignore repeating signals. And Tyler? He was repeating himself way too damn much. I met Tyler 6 months earlier when Claire brought him home for Thanksgiving. 33, clean cut, smooth talker, investment advisor in Denver. The guy checked every box, complimented my late wife's recipes, asked about the land, nodded respectfully at everything I said. Honestly, he felt too perfect. And experience has taught me one thing. When something looks flawless, it's usually hiding cracks underneath. Linda, my wife, passed away 3 years ago. Cancer. Fast and brutal. One moment we were planning spring planting. The next I was alone in a house that suddenly felt way too big. 200 acres. Bought cheap 30 years back, when it was basically scrubland and dreams. Now, with Denver creeping closer every year, developers were circling like sharks smelling blood. I got offers. Big ones. Life-changing money. But that land, that was Linda's dream. And I wasn't about to sell her dream for a fat check. Claire knew that. She grew up here. Helped plant the garden her mom loved. After Linda passed, Claire checked on me every weekend, worried I'd disappear into loneliness. When she met Tyler at some networking event and started dating him, I was honestly relieved. After her last disaster relationship, she deserved someone stable. The engagement came fast. For months, fancy restaurant, flashy proposal. Claire called me crying happy tears, barely able to breathe. "Dad," he asked me. I said what a father's supposed to say. "I'm happy for you." He seemed like a great guy. But while I was smiling on the phone, all I could think about was that damn property line. They planned the wedding right here on the ranch. Late September. Claire wanted her mom's spirit in the place. Tyler jumped into planning like a pro, suggesting expansions, layouts, even casually mentioning tree removal near the western edge. "You know," he said one afternoon, "if we clear some of these trees, the space would really open up." Those trees marked the boundary. "How far back does your land go again?" he asked. There it was. Again. That night, after they left, I pulled out the deed. 215 acres. Bought in '94 for 80 grand. Current value? North of 4 million. Maybe more. And that wasn't even the whole picture. What Claire didn't know, and what Tyler definitely didn't know, was that the ranch was just a visible part of my finances. I'd invented a small industrial component decades back. Nothing flashy. But the royalties? They never stopped. Add smart investing and a quiet lifestyle, and yeah, I was sitting on about 8 million. But I lived modest on purpose. Old truck. Flannel shirts. Fixed things myself. I'd seen what money did to families. I preferred being underestimated. Apparently, Tyler didn't. The next morning, I called my attorney. "I need a background check," I said. Quiet. 3 days later, she called back. "Robert, we need to talk." And that's when I realized this wasn't paranoia anymore, because Tyler wasn't just curious about land. He had a history. And what I learned next made my blood run cold. When my attorney, Margaret, said, "Robert, we need to talk," I knew this wasn't going to be some minor red flag. She doesn't dramatize. Ever. If she sounds serious, it means the ground is already cracking under your feet. I drove to her office in Boulder the same afternoon. She shut the door behind me and slid a thin folder across the desk. "Tyler Hutchinson checks out on paper," she said. "Licensed. Clean criminal record. Works where he says he works. For half a second, I almost felt relief. Then she added, but that's not the whole story. She opened another folder, thicker this time. Tyler has been engaged twice before. That word hit me like a brick. Engaged! I asked. Margaret nodded. Both times to women from very wealthy families. Both engagements ended suddenly. No drama. No lawsuits. Just quiet disappearances. My jaw tightened. Why'd they end? She leaned back. Timing, Robert. Every engagement ended shortly after Tyler gained access to family financial conversations, estate planning, property transfers, trusts. Once the information stopped flowing, so did the relationship. Names followed. Dates. Patterns. Rebecca Thornton, daughter of a tech CEO. 5-month engagement. Ended 2 weeks after Tyler attended a family meeting about the estate. Sarah Mitchell, daughter of a real estate developer. For months. Over the moment her father locked everything into an ironclad trust. No accusations. No police reports. Just silence. Why didn't anyone go after him? I asked. Margaret sighed. Families with that level of money don't sue. They bury problems quietly. I felt sick. So you're telling me my daughter's fiancé is shopping for inheritances? I'm saying the pattern is ugly, she replied carefully. And patterns don't lie. What scared me most wasn't Tyler. It was Claire. She didn't have millions of her own. She wasn't flashy. She lived like a normal person, which meant if Tyler was here, sniffing around, then he wasn't after her money. He was after mine. That night, Tyler came over to help with wedding prep. He parked his Audi like it owned the driveway and walked up smiling like nothing in the world was wrong. Robert, got a minute? He sat beside me, voice warm, friendly. Claire and I have been talking about the future. You know, finances, responsibility, adult stuff. He laughed. Occupational hazard. Then he dropped it. Have you done estate planning? Like, making sure everything's set up properly for Claire? My blood went ice cold, but my face stayed calm. I've got a will, I said. That's great, he replied. But with land like this, a trust might be smarter. Way more tax efficient. I'd be happy to help. No charge. I mean, I'll be family. Then he leaned in slightly. And at your age, you should think about long-term care too. If something happened, someone would need to manage things. There it was. The same script. Same angle. After he left, I didn't hesitate. I called Margaret back. I need proof, I said. Not vibes. Not patterns. Proof. She paused. I know a private investigator. That PI, Patricia, was sharp, quiet, and worth every penny. Within days, she had Tyler's routines mapped out. His calls, his meetings, his habits. Then one night, she called me. Mr. Caldwell, you need to hear this. She'd legally recorded a conversation from Tyler's car during a service appointment. The audio wasn't clean, but it was clear enough. Tyler's voice. Confident. Cocky. He's loaded. Tyler said, land alone is worth at least $4 million. Probably more. Another voice laughed. So what's the plan? Tyler didn't hesitate. I marry her. I earn his trust. Get power of attorney. Old guy lives alone. Anything can happen. Accident. Fall. Suddenly I'm managing everything. Claire inherits. We divorce. I walk with half. I shut off the recording. My hands weren't shaking from fear. They were shaking from rage. But rage doesn't protect your kid. Strategy does. I sat there in silence, realizing something terrifying and powerful. Tyler thought he was running the long game, but he had no idea I was already 5 moves ahead. Because now that I knew his plan, the only question left was how, and when I'd expose it without destroying my daughter in the process. After hearing that recording, I didn't sleep a single minute that night. Not because I was scared, but because my mind wouldn't stop calculating. Tyler thought he was hunting an old man with land and no defenses. What he didn't realize, I'd spent my entire career solving problems by thinking 3 steps ahead. And now, He'd handed me the blueprint to his scam. The next morning, I met with Margaret and Patricia in Margaret's office. No small talk. No pleasantries. He admitted intent. Margaret said after listening to recording twice. This is conspiracy. Not enough. I replied, if I go to Claire now, she'll think I'm trying to control her life. She's in love. Love makes smart people blind. Patricia nodded. So you want him to hang himself? Exactly, I said. In public. We didn't want Tyler arrested quietly. That would give him room to spin lies, twist the story, maybe even convince Claire that I ruined her happiness. No. Claire needed to hear the truth herself. Raw. Undeniable. That's when the plan came together. I started playing the part Tyler expected. The aging, trusting father-in-law who finally gets it. When Tyler suggested sitting down to talk finances, I didn't resist. Sure, I said, come by this weekend. He showed up with a briefcase full of papers like he was closing $1 million deal. Power of attorney forms, trust documents, flow charts, the whole fake helpful package. This one lets me manage things if you ever need assistance, he explained smoothly. And this updates your will. Claire stays the beneficiary, obviously, but I'd serve as trustee to make sure everything's handled properly. I pretended to read, nodding slowly. Sounds smart, I said. This place is getting harder to manage anyway. His eyes lit up. That night, Patricia finished installing hidden cameras around the ranch. Legal angles, clean footage, zero shortcuts. Margaret updated my real estate documents and locked down every asset I owned. If Tyler tried anything, he'd hit a brick wall. Still, I hadn't told Claire. That was the hardest part. She noticed something was off. Dad, you okay? She asked one evening. You've been quiet lately. I wanted to tell her everything right then. I wanted to rip the blindfold off and protect her like she was 10 years old again. But she wasn't a child anymore, and this was her life. I just miss your mom, I said. She hugged me. I know she'd love Tyler. That almost broke me. The week before the wedding, Tyler's best man arrived, Marcus. I recognized him instantly from the recordings. The two of them moved like teammates, confident, joking, acting like the future was already theirs. At the rehearsal dinner, Tyler raised his glass. To Robert, he said loudly, for welcoming me into his family, and to Claire for making me the luckiest man alive. Everyone clapped. I smiled back. Inside, I was counting down. Wedding day came fast. September sunlight, blue skies, golden leaves, the kind of perfect day that feels like it's been staged by the universe. Claire looked stunning. Her mother's pearls rested against her neck. She squeezed my arm as I walked her down the aisle. I love you, Dad, she whispered. I love you more, I said, knowing this moment was about to shatter something, but maybe save her entire future. The ceremony began. The officiant spoke about trust, commitment, honesty. Tyler stood tall, smiling like he'd already won. Then something happened I didn't expect. As Tyler opened his mouth to say I do, Claire froze. Her hands trembled. She reached into her bouquet and slipped me a folded note. Our eyes met. I opened it. 3 words. Dad, help me. My heart stopped. I stood up, stopped the ceremony. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Tyler spun around, panic flashing across his face for half a second. Just long enough for me to see it. Claire's voice shook as she spoke. I heard him, she said. Last night, he was talking to Marcus. Tyler tried to grab her arm. You're confused. You said you'd make sure my dad had an accident, she cried. You said once you had power of attorney, everything would be easy. The silence exploded. And that's when the sheriff stood up in the front row. Tyler Hutchinson, he said calmly. You're being detained for questioning. Marcus bolted. He didn't make it 10 steps. Because what happened next didn't just expose Tyler. It revealed how close my daughter came to losing everything, including me. The second the sheriff grabbed Tyler's arms, the whole ranch exploded into chaos. Guests jumped out of their chairs. Someone screamed. Phones came out. Tyler started yelling, real loud, real fast, like volume alone could rewrite reality. This is insane. You're ruining my wedding, he shouted, twisting in the deputy's grip. Robert set this up. He's manipulating everyone. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. Marcus tried to play innocent until Patricia, cool as ice, dragged him back from the driveway. The man looked stunned, like he couldn't believe the game ended this fast. Claire collapsed into my arms, shaking. "I'm sorry, Dad," she kept saying. "I should have told you sooner. You did exactly what you needed to do." I told her. "You trusted yourself." Margaret stepped forward and handed the sheriff a folder thick enough to make a statement all on its own. Recordings, surveillance, financial documents, timelines, the kind of evidence that doesn't blink. Tyler saw it and went pale. "This is entrapment," he screamed. "I want a lawyer." "You'll get one," the sheriff replied calmly. "But you're not leaving." The wedding? Over. Chairs emptying. Guests whispering. Caterers quietly packing untouched food like this was just another event gone wrong. Claire and I sat on the porch steps in silence as the sun dipped behind the mountains. She finally spoke. "I knew for 2 days," she admitted. "I heard him at the hotel. I just froze. I didn't want it to be real." I nodded. "That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human." She looked at me, eyes red. "You knew, didn't you?" "I suspected," I said. "I was waiting for proof and for you to be ready." She leaned against me, exhausted. 3 months later, Tyler took a plea deal. 5 years probation. Restitution. Permanent ban from financial services. Marcus went down too. Less time, but enough to wreck his plans. Life didn't magically fix itself after that. Claire moved back to the ranch for a while. Therapy. Long walks. Quiet nights. Healing isn't loud. It's slow. One evening, she asked a question Tyler never stopped circling. "Dad, how rich are you actually?" I laughed. Enough to know money isn't the point. When I finally told her about the ranch, the patents, the investments, her jaw dropped. "You live like this on purpose?" "Yes," I said, "because money reveals people. And I wanted you to grow up real." She nodded slowly. "I get it now." We sat in Linda's garden as the sun set, roses blooming wild, wind moving through the grass. "I wish Mom was here," Claire whispered. "Me too," I said. And in that quiet moment, I knew something. The real inheritance wasn't the land. It wasn't the money. It was the wisdom to see danger and the courage to walk away. But the story doesn't end there, because Tyler wasn't the last lesson this ranch would teach us. The ranch felt different after everything went down. Same land, same mountains, same wind rolling through grass, but the silence had weight now. Not scary, just honest, like the place was finally telling the truth out loud. Claire stayed with me that fall. No rush back to Denver. No fake smiles. Just time. Some mornings we didn't say a word, just drank coffee on the porch while the sun climbed over the hills. Healing doesn't follow a schedule, and I wasn't about to push her. Therapy helped. She learned how manipulators work, how charm can be weaponized, how predators don't look like villains. They look like solutions. That realization hit her hard. "I keep thinking I should have known," she said one night. I shook my head. "Nah, you trusted. That's not a flaw. That's a strength. You just met the wrong person." Tyler wasn't some random bad boyfriend. He was a professional. He studied people, targeted families. He didn't chase love. He chased leverage. And if I'd been louder about money earlier, we might have attracted 10 more guys just like him. That's the dirty secret nobody talks about. Money doesn't just buy comfort. It buys attention. And not all attention is good. One evening, Claire asked, "Do you ever regret not telling me everything sooner?" I thought about it for a long minute. If I had, I said, you might have doubted everyone who ever showed interest in you. You might have questioned every relationship. I wanted you to live free, not guarded. She nodded slowly. I get that now. Winter came early that year. Snow dusted the fence lines. The garden went quiet, but we kept working, fixing old posts, clearing trails, keeping life moving. Claire eventually went back to Denver, not to Tyler's life, her own, new boundaries, new standards. She dated again, but smarter, slower, eyes open. As for me, I stayed exactly the same. Same truck, same flannel, same low profile. But I did make one change. I expanded Linda's garden. More roses, a stone bench with her name carved into it, a place to sit and remember the woman who believed land mattered more than labels and peace mattered more than flash. Sometimes Claire and I sit there at sunset, watching the sky burn orange and purple. "Dad," she said once, "Tyler kept saying you were loaded. I always thought we were just comfortable." I smiled. That was the point. Money isn't about showing off. It's about safety, about options, about being able to say no when someone tries to own you. I didn't protect Claire with cash. I protected her with preparation. And when the moment came, she found the strength to save herself. Because in the end, the ranch didn't just expose a con artist. It proved what real wealth actually is that a year passed. The ranch stayed steady through it all. Storms, seasons, silence, and growth. Life didn't magically get easier, but it got clearer. And clarity? That's priceless. Tyler faded into the background where guys like him belong. His name stopped coming up. His voice stopped echoing. The damage he caused didn't disappear overnight, but it stopped spreading. That mattered. Claire came back to visit one spring afternoon, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. Not forced, not polite, real. "I'm good, Dad," she said. "Not perfect, just good." That was enough. We walked the property line together. The same line Tyler obsessed over. She laughed. Crazy how much power he thought this had. "It only has power if you don't understand it," I said. She nodded. "Guess that applies to more than land." Exactly. We sat by Linda's garden as the sun went down, the roses catching the last light of the day. Claire leaned her head on my shoulder. "You know," she said, "if you ever decide to sell this place, I won't be mad." I smiled. "I know." The truth was, I didn't measure the ranch in dollars anymore. I measured it in moments, in lessons, in protection. Money didn't save us. Awareness did. Claire learned to trust her instincts. I learned that sometimes the best way to protect someone isn't to warn them. It's to stand ready when they finally see the truth themselves. That note she handed me at the altar, that wasn't fear. That was strength. Before she left, she hugged me tight. "Thanks for never making me feel stupid." "You weren't," I said. "You were human." When she drove away, dust rising behind her tires, I realized something simple but powerful. Real wealth isn't what you own. It's what you can lose and still stand. The ranch will someday change hands. Money will move. Names will fade. But the lesson will stay. Don't advertise what you have. Don't ignore patterns. And never confuse charm for character. I still drive the same old truck. Still wear flannel. Still sit on the porch at sunset. And every time the light hits Linda's garden just right, I know we did something right. Because the best inheritance I'll ever leave my daughter isn't land or money. It's the ability to protect herself.